Hi guys, I'm Yatish, and this is my wonderful audience today. So today I'm going to be talking a little bit about the Electoral College. Now to start things off, for those of you who don't know, the Electoral College is not something you can apply to. For a little bit of background, it's a political system in which it helps us elect our president and vice president. And it was a body that was formed by the founding fathers to help us do that. And what I'm going to be talking about today is how the Electoral College is set up, the functions, and how it might be inefficient and how it can be efficient. And it's important to know all this information because we're all students with opinions, residents, or citizens, and we all want to change this political process somehow. And it's important to know all the ins and outs to make change. So let's start off with the function of the Electoral College. The Electoral College is set up with 538 total electors, and these electors are basically proportionate to the 435 House of Representatives members, and plus 100 senators, and 3 additional electors from Washington, D.C. Now, all states have their equal number of representatives and their 2 senators as electors. Now, political parties from each state, they essentially elect the electors, and depending on who wins the popular vote in that state, gets all of those electors. So, for example, if I'm a Democrat and I win my state, suppose California, I get all of California's Democratic electors. A few key things to remember is that federal officials can't be elected as electors because obviously they'll have some biases. All states except Maine and Nebraska have a winner-take-all system. Now, a winner-take-all system is essentially a system where if you win 51% of the vote, you get all the state's electors. And furthermore, the candidate needs 270 electors to win the general election, and there's only ever been a tie. There's never been a tie. In fact, if there is a tie, the Senate and the House of Representatives choose who the president is, but there's never been a case like that. To put it in simple terms, majority of the candidate to win majority of the electors wins the elections. So let's move on to some of the benefits of having the system in place. First of all, the Electoral College allows states with large populations. It essentially prevents them from having what the Founding Fathers called undue influence. What this means is they can't really sway an election in their favor just because they have all the population concentrated. So California wouldn't be able to sway an election. Texas would not be able to do that. Essentially, it sort of evens the playing ground. The Electoral College also allows all states to be a part of the campaign process and the campaign trail. Essentially, states can't be ignored. Sometimes, yes, it happens, but for the most part, almost every state gets some attention from the candidates. So obviously, with every process, there are some deficiencies, but this one, for the most part, has been very efficient in electing our president. The Electoral College has an incredible success rate. It's only had 5 discrepancies between the Electoral College vote and the popular vote. And given that that's 5 out of 45 presidents, I'd say that's a pretty effective system in place. And it's more effective than other systems in other countries. So obviously there's inefficiencies within a system, and we're going to have to talk about those too. So some of the inefficiencies of this system is that swing states, or states with who are 50-50 in voting for political parties, can often sway the election, in fact, because certain candidates know they're going to win a state which almost always aligns with them, so they choose to ignore that state. For example, a lot of times Clinton would ignore California because she knows she's going to win it. A lot of times, even Trump ignores California because he knows he's going to lose it. And what that does is it puts the focus on let's say 11 swing states, and that's what happens almost every year. Another inefficiency would be that the will of the people is not taken into account with this system. In fact, what's a common argument is what matters more: 538 electors voting or 300 million people voting, and that can be a problem for many people. Some people think it's inefficient. Some people think, hey, we need every person's vote to count. PBS also came out with a study and did a little analysis, and they said that Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton actually have made more than 90% of their campaign stops in swing states, which is incredible. It just shows that they're ignoring literally the rest of the states sometimes. So that's obviously a fault in this electoral college. So to recap, I told you guys about what the electoral college does, how it works, the functions of it. I told you guys about the benefits of having this system in place and some of its inefficiencies. Now, there are obviously a lot of differing opinions about the electoral college, and I'm not here to tell you whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, but what you have to know is, for you to actually formulate an opinion on it yourself, you have to be part of the political process. Just complaining about the electoral college sometimes doesn't cut it. We all have to get out there and vote. If we're afraid of something, if we're afraid that the electoral college doesn't do the job or does the job well, then we have to advocate for it, and we have to share all our opinions with everybody else. And that's just a general sense of being part of the political process. So I hope you guys know a little bit more about the electoral college. Thank you for listening.